to the Financial Journey with Coffee channel, where we talk all about personal wealth, investing, and growing your stocks and portfolio. Today we're going to talk about StashAway and the crazy week that had happened to StashAway. And at the end of this video, I'm going to also show you what I think about StashAway, my personal opinions, and also how I view StashAway going down the road, or my personal investing plan with StashAway. So let's go into StashAway. So for those of you who are new or don't know what had happened to StashAway, well, let's recap what happened this week. On the 27th of January, which is Monday of last week, or this past Monday, StashAway in the morning of the 27th announced that they have raised 16 million US dollar in its Series C funding led by Square Peg. And over here you can see that they're pretty well and big, large investing companies that have invested in StashAway Series C funding, and they've received a total of 16 million US dollars, and that's no small thing, at least for startups in Southeast Asia. So really big congratulations to StashAway, to YCan, the Malaysia StashAway country manager, to the CTO, to Freddie Lim, the COO, and also the CEO. Really happy news to see. But immediately after that, on the same day itself, at 2 p.m., around there, 3 p.m., what had happened was, over here, StashAway Malaysia users left with drained bank accounts after major direct debit error. So what had happened, for those of you who do not know, is that at 3 p.m., StashAway has direct debited multiple times, up to 27 to 28 times of the same amount that a user was planning to deposit into StashAway. For example, like this user right here, you can see the screenshot from his bank account. What this user was trying to do was to deposit $250 into one of his StashAway portfolio. But there was a glitch and there was an error by StashAway and by StashAway's vendor, Curlic. And what happened was, instead of a one-time 250 ringgit, it went up all the way to almost maximum of 27 to 28 times for a particular user. And so imagine if you were to deposit 200 ringgit and multiply that by 27. So that is basically 2,700. So from 200 ringgit, they basically took up 2,000 ringgit instead, or 2,700 ringgit instead. So that is a massive breach of trust. And for those of you who just want a scale of what had happened to me, I basically scheduled a 4,000 ringgit deposit into StashAway Simple on the 27th of the Monday. And what happened was, guys, look at this. This is a screenshot of my bank account. What happened at that day was that they direct debit multiple times, 12 times of 4,000 ringgit from my bank account. And that was amounting up to 48k ringgit Malaysia. So at the end of the day, that bank account that I had at the end of the Monday was practically down to zero. I was really furious with StashAway. But good thing for me is that I didn't have to use that money immediately, and so that was not too bad. There are some users that have their bank account and they wanted to pay, maybe their credit card is due, their loan payment is due. And what do you do if your bank account is going down or has gone down to zero? Now, this is a really, really big issue here. And later on, I'll go into what StashAway could do and what the banks itself also could do. And let me know, for those of you who are affected, type down in the comment section below, and let's see and discuss to see what had happened to you, and if all of you have or have received your money and are satisfied with StashAway. So basically, I called StashAway at about 3:36 p.m. because I realized that there were multiple text message from my bank saying that 4,000 ringgit was withdrawn, right, multiple times. And so when I checked my bank account, really all the money was gone. But so on the night itself, at about 8:30 p.m., what happened was Wong YCan, the country manager for StashAway, as you can see right here, it's a little bit blurred, but he sent an email to those who were affected. So there were about 1,100 users that were affected by this glitch. And he sent and say that he would promise to return the money by 11 p.m. the next day, which is on the 28th, right? So on the 28th, what had happened was most of the users had gotten back their money. On the 28th at 1 p.m. around, give or take, I've gotten back half of my money, and at about 5 p.m. I've gotten back the full returns of my money. So there you go. On the 28th, which is the next day, StashAway has returned most of the users' money back, but not everyone. If you can see here, right here, you can see that there were still complaints on the 28th night itself, and I actually personally know of a colleague that did not receive his money until the 29th, the night of the 29th. So they did not entirely cap to their promise. So let's take a look at all these issues, right? Even the Star has posted StashAway users in Malaysia affected by multiple direct debit transactions due to technical issues. So let's look at what StashAway has said. So on the 30th or 31st of August, StashAway basically published a post-mortem of what had happened right during the 27th. And you can see here, they did it in a very proper way. I'm really happy of their transparency. You can see here this is authored by the CTO. Since it's a technical issue, obviously the CTO has to be involved. The COO has also reviewed it. StashAway country manager has reviewed it. Even Curlic, which is their service provider, has reviewed it. And StashAway group CEO has also reviewed it. And so they published this on the 30th of July. And you can see here, what had happened was, for those of you who are interested, you can pause on this video and read the summary. But basically, what happened to StashAway was Curlic, which is their vendor provider, which directs debits bank accounts from StashAway and puts it into their Pacific Trustee account for investing. What happened to Curlic was there was a glitch where their unique ID or the timestamp for each submission was actually repeated, right? So when there was a repeat in the unique ID, what Curlic did was it sends a error message to StashAway saying that these transactions right now have not been processed. And so when StashAway have gotten that notification of an error that happened, right? So you can see that here, a timeout occurred on Curlic API that resulted in a retry of batch submission by StashAway. So when StashAway received that error, error by Curlic, what StashAway did was they then again sent the same information to Curlic, right? It was an automated process. And then Curlic would, in turns, send that same error message back to StashAway, and then StashAway would send the transactions back to Curlic to direct debit their StashAway account. So this resulted in 26 times of batch 1 to batch 3 to 7 to 27 times of direct debit into their client's bank account. That's why some people were direct debited 27 times. And so you can see here that it affected basically 1,174 customers. It's actually a bit more because what it says here is that on the 28th, they've returned 1,174 customers that were affected, right? And 42 customers received their money on the 29th. So they promised on the 28th, but actually 42 customers who did not receive their money until the 29th. And then the last 8 customers were due to be refunded on July the 30th. So approximately 50 customers did not get back their money on the 28th. They only gotten back their money after the 28th, which is on a Tuesday. So this is what happened to StashAway. It's a really, really big glitch. For those of you who are interested in this, comment down in the section below and I can send you this PDF file of what had happened to StashAway. And as far as I know, they only send this information to those who were affected. So now the big question is, what do I do now with StashAway, right? What do I think about StashAway and what do I think about bank services in Malaysia? Well, the first issue about this is I feel that StashAway should have already had a fail-safe switch, right? Kill switch, where if they detected that the bank account of their clients were deposited multiple times with the same amount and multiple transactions, there should already be a red flag right there, right? It can't be someone withdrawing 1,000 ringgit 27 times in a single hour. That is impossible. So that should already be a red flag on StashAway's end. And more than that, if you look at all the banks in Malaysia, right? OCBC, Maybank, HSBC, it doesn't matter what bank you're signed up with. When that happens, all the banks, there wasn't a fail switch. There wasn't a kill switch to stop those transactions, right? The bank didn't notify any clients. The bank didn't tell any clients that hey, we are detecting a fraud transaction on your account. When something like that happens, the banks should be responsible to have some sort of detection tool to detect that something weird is happening and to stop those transactions. But unfortunately, because we've signed up for auto debit, the bank account literally just turned a blind eye, right? So when we sign up for an auto debit, what it means is we are giving full access to our clients or whoever that we sign our auto debit to withdraw as many times as we want. This is what we've learned from the bank security in Malaysia, right? But actually, in actual fact, they should implement a rule where if it's more than a certain amount and more than a certain time, a red flag should be sent out or the Q switch should be activated. So I'm not very happy even with the service of banks in Malaysia so far. So that has to improve. Now, finally, what do I think about StashAway? Well, those of you who follow me quite a while now, you know that I wasn't happy with StashAway, but this is my StashAway portfolio right now. Well, as of the 29th of July, which is 2 days after you could see that deposit, right, that transaction of 4K, what I did was I deposited 5,000 ringgit again into StashAway. The reason being is that I wanted to see how it will work using JohnPay. So I did not direct debit, set up a direct debit anymore, but I used JohnPay to put in 5,000 ringgit to see how fast it can be processed. So far, it's still in progress and nothing has happened yet, and it's been a few days now. So we'll see how they process this and how it works with JohnPay. So far, I'm still satisfied with StashAway. I'm really happy with their progress, their transparency of how they've handled the situation. But I really hope that this does not happen again, because I really love the product of StashAway. All their investment tools, all the things that they have done, it's really impressive. So hopefully this would be just a blip on the roadmap for StashAway, and that they will get their act together and continue to serve their clients in a secure way, in a truthful way, and in a transparent way. So that's all I have recap for you guys. For those of you who want to know more about StashAway, look at my other videos. Subscribe for those of you who are new, like, and let me know what you think about StashAway going forward. Bye.